Hi, I'm Ann Coulter. Welcome to my Substack. This is going to be my interview with my friend and the amazing reporter, Andy Ngo. You know him from his coverage of Antifa. He's unbelievably brave going into the belly of the beast. And I think, yeah, almost got beaten to death outside a courthouse in Portland. I think he took a little bit more than that Capitol Hill police officer who has a cut now at CNN. And I particularly want to recommend Andy Ngo's best New York Times bestseller, Unmasked Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. I read it when it came out. I was reading it, flipping through it again today, Andy. And, you know, anyone who does not already agree with me, and I changed my mind about it, about Trump's pardon of all of the January 6th rioters, not insurrectionists. You have to read Andy Ngo's book. I mean, it's just story after story of vicious, violent, crazed Antifa, destroying property, throwing rocks, maiming police officers. And oh yeah, he got out after 2 days. Anyway, he has a breaking, huge story that the media is so not covering, and it's wacky, wild, and weird. So welcome, Andy Ngo.
Thank you so much for that introduction and having me on again.
So tell first, we'll get to generally Antifa stuff, but this weirdo transgender vegan high math IQ cult that is going around killing people in America. Wow, this is one of the weirdest ones I've heard of, and it's hard. You kind of need a flow chart to see what's going on, but why don't you start by describing that?
Yeah, the way you described it is accurate. It's not hyperbole. It's not written by AI, even though it sounds so shocking. I couldn't really believe it myself when I was piecing together some of the things I've learned and have reported out. It does sound a bit too fantastical. You know, a trans terror cult who's involved in multiple homicides going back multiple years, and we're only now finding out they have members at large who are armed and dangerous. They have members that they may have killed who we don't know about. But yes, these are all elements of the story, and it's developing. The I guess the revelations really started with the killing of the Border Patrol agent in Vermont on Inauguration Day. And there was so much media coverage of the events in DC with the inauguration, obviously. So the story was missed by even conservative media. And initially, it was reported, at least in conservative press, that a foreign national had been involved in a killing of a border agent.
On an
But
H-1B visa, by the way. Just
that's
wanted to
right,
mention that.
the German national who's deceased is on that visa. And so the shootout occurred in the afternoon in Coventry, involving two individuals. One who's deceased is a German national, a male, biological male, and the other is a female American from Seattle who was injured by returning fire, but has been charged and is in federal custody. So
And both were transgenders, right? She
that's
was,
right.
yeah.
That's right. I was
She's
the
the
first to
only
report that.
biological girl, though, right?
Yes, she's the Teresa Youngblood is her name, biological female. So just for clarification, in this interview and in my reporting, when I use the pronouns I'm referring to their biological sex, just because
Good, that is so much easier.
yeah, it's not just people who the members of this cult don't just identify as like she, her, or he, hims. They also have neo pronouns and they, them. So I'm sticking by the accuracy of the biological sex. So Teresa Youngblood, biological female, 21 years old, from Seattle, from a very wealthy family, went to the top elite high school in Seattle, the same one that Bill Gates is an alumnus from. She's in custody. She identified as Ziz them and used the name Milo. The German national identified as she, her, as a biological male. His name is Felix Ophelia. That was the name that was used, Balkholt. So This now the links get confusing with everybody else. I'll try my best to explain it because it goes to different states. Three
Start at the
day,
guy at the top, the Ziz guy, Jack Lasorda. Is that his name? Because you call it the Zizian cult.
yes. So the reason why others refer to members of this trans terror cult as Zizians is Ziz, Z-I-Z, is the alias for the leader of this group. His legal name is Jack Lasota, but he also has used the name Andrea Phelps. And in his various blog writings, which are alleged to have radicalized people into following him, joining him, and allegedly killing others, he used the alias Ziz. So this is an individual originally from Fairbanks, Alaska. We don't actually know a lot from his background. He's very well educated in computer science and has written extensively about AI and transhumanism. And the ideology of this group is very esoteric and it's confusing and it's weird. I've been looking at this now for a week and a half, and I still don't really understand what to simplify, the more esoteric parts involve transhumanism, which is this belief that isn't, at least ideologically, it's consistent with the transgender belief that you can disassociate from your biological reality and identify with something else. And that's the case in transgenderism and transhumanism. Its adherents believe that they're not limited by their body and that technology can be used to either extend their lives or to change who they are. Really bizarre stuff.
But the
But the
transhumanism, does that mean they can, the same way a girl can think she's a boy and be a boy, that these guys can think they're an earthworm and be an earthworm?
Yes, the in terms of
Oh,
the
okay.
rationality is yes, you simplified it better than I did. Yes, that they you can yes, you're not limited by biological reality or reality itself. And then the writings also include other things about like punching Nazis and fighting the right, fighting fascists. So standard leftist stuff. And they also write their tactics involve a lot of these Antifa tactics of like squatting and going after landlords, etc. So there's a whole body of literature that Ziz has written to your listeners and viewers and you and I. We don't see why it might be appealing, but in the literature of those who are have gender dysmorphia, a lot of them suffer from other mental comorbidities like autism and other psychiatric issues.
Hmm.
And in the profile that I'm building with some of these members, that may be the case of the people that were involved. Highly educated, very intelligent people, but also being on the spectrum.
Yeah, I
So
noticed that they were a lot of, and particularly in math and computer programming and all these awards, it was weird how high IQ they are, and yet how retarded this philosophy is. Another thing I read about it, that Ziz, one of his beliefs was that by thinking about it, you could have multiple personalities, which, yeah, okay, I do that in an hour. Wow.
so how the Vermont shooting incident then became linked to everything else we just talked about is that the fiance of the Seattle woman, Teresa Milo Youngblood, 3 days before the inauguration day shooting, allegedly assassinated a witness to a attempted murder and murder trial of two of the Zizian members in the Bay Area in California. So on the
Yeah, that's a
17th of
sick
January,
story.
yeah, it's a 82-year-old man who survived a attempted murder on his life in 2022 by three members of the cult. They impaled him. They cut him all over. He lost an eye in the attack, but he had a firearm for self-defense, and he used it. He shot one of them dead, and that's Amir Emma Borhanian, who used to work for Google, by the way. He injured another one of them, and then there was a third one who was uninjured. And the two out of the three attackers, alleged attackers, I should say, were charged, and they had their trial in April, and he was the sole witness to that attack, and he's now been murdered. He was hacked up with a bladed weapon and had his throat slit on the 17th of January. And that individual, Maximilian Snyder, is from Seattle as well, also went to that very prestigious elite high school. He's 22 years old, and he's the fiance. And I looked up the marriage application records in King County, Washington State. He is the fiance of the woman who's apprehended in Vermont.
So you're the only one who figured, does the FBI know about this? Are you the only, I mean, they have 5 confirmed kills among them. We'll get to those in a second.
4.
Oh, 4. Okay. But is anyone else aware, I mean, until you started writing about it, that the fiance of one of the Border Patrol killers, or alleged killers, as you say, is this guy Snyder out in the Pacific Northwest who killed the poor old man? He was a strong guy. I saw the pictures of him.
So the local media reporting has actually been very good, except for one important part, and you can probably guess, none of them are reporting out that all the members of this group are transgender identifying in some way. You could argue you could argue that maybe it's not relevant if you're just reporting on cases of homicide, but then that would be ignoring the body of writings that have been written by the cult leader, who's at large, by the way, and is wanted and has an arrest warrant in 2 states, California and as well as Pennsylvania.
You can watch complete episodes of Unsafe with Ann Coulter by subscribing to anncoulter.substack.com. That's anncoulter.substack.com. You can also listen to complete episodes for free at Ricochet.com. Choose Unsafe from the pull-down menu at the top of the page. That's Ricochet.com, your home for civil center right conversation on the web.